Welcome to Mad Tutorials. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create basic parallaxing effects in HTML and CSS. Now, in a parallaxing website, I'm just going to open this file up for you. In a parallaxing website, there are three basic functions that you need to add, or pieces of functionality, I should say. There's basically the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. So I'm going to show you my base file here that I'll be working from. You've got your CSS, which I'm just putting in the head. You've got some basic HTML, which is just going to take up space. This is just basic text, paragraph tags in HTML. And then at the bottom you've got your JavaScript, which is going to control the movement of the pieces of parallaxing, which is going to control the different parallaxing pieces. What you're going to need for this tutorial is a few images. I've just got some images of random cookies and the Cookie Monster, just because I like cookies and so does the Cookie Monster. And then other than that, you'll just need a text editor to work in. So I'm going to get you to open up a new text file. I use Sublime Text. You can use Text Wrangler if you like. So open one up here. So you're going to want to start off by putting in your basic tags for HTML to open up the script. So I've got my doc type, my HTML tag, my head tag. Then you're going to need open body and close body tags. I'm just going to copy and paste to make this go a little bit quicker because it is going to be a long tutorial otherwise. And then I forgot to close my head here. Don't forget to do that. And then close off the HTML. Okay. And the meta tag should actually be in the head. This is just all very basic, bare bones things that you need to get started with parallaxing. So once you've done that, in your body tag, you're going to need to make divs. You need to make divs to hold the images. So the way to do that, I've got the three divs here for each one of the images. Each one holds a different image. So I've got cookie 1, cookie 2, and cookie 3. And I'm actually going to set the image as the background of the div because you want to move the div around, not an image within a div. So in order to actually move the divs around, all you need is the div with a class setting the background. Once you've got that, you can put in a placeholder text. I just do that so that it fills up enough space so you can see the parallaxing moving about. So I'll just put that in now. Again, I'm going to copy and paste it just to save a little bit of time. So there you go. All it says is this is parallax. So once you've got that in, you've got your basic pieces that you're going to need for the tutorial. So let me save this as a new document. I'm going to call it tutorial. Save it as tutorial.html, and then we can open it up and you can see what it looks like in the browser. So that's what it looks like right now. Not very much to it. So what we're going to want to do is come back into our tutorial file, and we're going to want to add in some styling. So you're going to want to put in all your CSS. Now that is going to go right here under the title and the header. Put that right. Oh, I didn't put a title apparently. We'll put that in now. Just toss our title in there just to give it a title for the website. Okay, computer's acting up. There we go. So what I've done here is I've added some CSS to create a container around all of my text. And that allows me to just make it so that the text is only 960 pixels wide, so that it's not stretching the full length of the screen, full width of the screen. It's also got a certain height, so that it doesn't go past that height, because you don't want to be having way too much. It's not necessary. And then a background color. I've also put in a section for the footer, which actually I don't need. I'm going to get rid of that. So I've got a section for the first cookie, the second cookie, and the third cookie. Each one is a different div. So what you're going to need to do for each one, and it's going to be the same for each one, is set the position for fixed. Give it a background image, which is going to be the image that you want to move around, and in this case all of mine are residing within the images folder. And then you need to give it a height and a width, preferably the size of what the image is, otherwise you might get some repeating background happening in there. You can also put no repeat, but if you just make it the right size, you won't have that issue. You want to set how far from the left your image is going to be, and then the margin left. So basically what's happening is you're moving the image from the left 50%, that's how I always do it to center it. Move it 50% and then back 600 pixels is what I'm doing here to set the distance. If you move it 50% to the center, because you need to have a left margin, if you move it 50%, you can backtrack from there, so you kind of have an idea of where you're going at all times. And then a margin from the top. That's going to be your top reference to tell you how far the image is going to be down from the top, because that's really the only point of reference you have when doing parallaxing. So you're going to do this for all three. And let's see what happens. So you can see I've got my images here, and I've got some color in there, and it goes down 2,000 pixels. No movement yet, because we still need to add the JavaScript. So you can open up your text editor, and you want to go right down to the bottom, right after the final div there, right before the end body tag. And you're going to add in this piece of script right here. So it's a JavaScript. Basically what's happening is it's creating a function that allows you to parallax, and I'll show you. Within the parallax function, you need to place all of references for all of the divs that you want to move. So basically I've got the cookie 1 div here, and what this is saying is that it's referencing the top, and then it from there is deciding how far it's going to scroll to a plus or a negative value, and the speed at which it's going to scroll. And it's referencing by pixels. So right now I've got the first cookie. It's referencing from the top. It's going at a negative value, and it's moving at 0.5. Now you can play around with these, the 0.5 and the 0.8. You can play around with those different values to try and get the effect you want, and it takes a bit to figure out how it works, but it's not that difficult. So once you've got that script in there, and you have to remember to reference all of the divs that you want to use, because if you don't, sometimes you'll get an error. And go back and refresh it, and you can see the images are now parallaxing. So the first cookie is referencing the top. It's 400 pixels down, and as I scroll, it's moving upward at a negative value at the speed of 0.5. You can see the second cookie is 600 pixels to the left from the center, and it's moving to the right, which would be a positive value. So it takes a little bit to figure out exactly how it works, but this is basic parallaxing at its very bare bones. I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial, and come back and watch some more. Thanks.